Chase Lee Hockey here at the Blue Futon. I will rarely do spoiler talks for movies. But for some reason, Don't Worry, Darling is on my mind, and I feel like I need to get some stuff off my chest and my mind to talk about this movie. So let's go into spoilers for Don't Worry, Darling. If you watch my initial review, you know for a fact I gave the movie a 60%. I do think it's in the positive territory, and I don't see it moving from that positive territory. It was entertaining enough for me to enjoy what was happening on screen, but the third act was a little bit wonky, a little bit wobbly, just like Barbarian. So let's just first start off with the thing. This is The Matrix. This is Clockwork Orange. This is The Village. This is Stepford Wives, Black Mirror, all into one little episode or one little movie. The whole premise of this movie is a simulation, meta, and, virtual reality, if you want to put it that way. And when I watched the movie, I lived a life in virtual reality. The Sundance one, I fucking hated it. And that's why I'm saying I am writing a script about virtual reality and people getting sucked into this world, and that's what they would rather do. So this kind of goes in that premise, but the overarching just things that occur in the movie make zero sense on why it actually shows in the movie. For example, why is there a plane and why is the plane crashing? Doesn't really say. Why are they in this bubble? It doesn't really make sense of why they would be in this bubble because, in all honesty, Harry Styles' character can't get a job. He listens to this random podcast where this guy's like, oh, you signed this waiver and you're going to be in this virtual reality world. And while your loved one is in the world forever, you have to play in the real world, which that really doesn't make sense because in the real world, Harry Styles and Florence Pugh does med stuff, like OR stuff, and she said she did a 30-hour shift in medical. You ain't doing a 30-hour shift. That's against all laws and like all countries and all states in the United States. You can't do 30 hours straight in any hospital. No. So that's another fault right there. But the whole premise of like him randomly drugging her and then shock therapy to get her back normally, that doesn't make sense. So you're telling me they take her away, they give her shock therapy in the real world and somehow transfer her back to her apartment while Harry Styles in the real world goes work for some random Chris Pine character and he's miserable until he comes back home to be with her in virtual reality. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, the things are pretty cool. Like I said, they're Clockwork Orange. But things that just don't make sense is like the trolley man. So you're telling me the guy that's driving the trolley, he's in virtual reality as well? So you're telling me all these red suit people are also in virtual reality as well? This random doctor. I understand they're kind of in this cult, or if you want to put it, community in virtual reality. But it just doesn't make sense. Yes, some characters, like Olivia Wilde's character, why she would want to be in it? Yes, her kids are dead. So in this virtual reality, she could be with her kids forever because her kids won't ever grow. But then you have weird storylines with this girl that seems like she's always pregnant. Why is that? Is she pregnant in the real world? And so she's just stuck pregnant in this world? Where are these people coming from? And at the very end where like things are just breaking and people are finally realizing where they're at, that doesn't make sense. That's making the world crash. That doesn't make sense. Also, when you go to this hub, if you want to put it that way, where you put your hands on the mirrors, you randomly see the future. Like, what does that mean? If you are in, I understand maybe that's the hub of like you go into your brain and realizing, oh, I'm touching the real world in my brain and I'm finally coming back to my senses of what is happening. But where, and then if someone commits suicide in that world, they must be dead in the real world. So it's kind of almost like The Matrix, or as well as another movie that I could have sworn has been a couple years old where you die in the fake world, but it's not The Matrix, it's something else. Anyway, I'm forgetting what premise that is from, where if you die in the fake world, you die in the real world. But then it's the red suit people. I just don't understand where they're coming from, what they're doing. And if you touch this thing, why is it bad for everyone around them? Just take them out of the world. Like, that's it. There's no harm, no foul. But this doctor and these random nurses and then the red suit people, I'm going to keep saying the red suit people, and then the random plane just randomly crashing. You're in this little thing, Victory Project. Yeah, it makes sense with like the eggs cracking. You see it in the trailer. But just the third act, there's so many questions that just aren't answered. At the very end, the last scene is basically her dancing in her real apartment, but is it really her real apartment, or is she dead now, or is she? So it just leaves you very open ended. And then, like I said, there's so many things I have questions for. And finally, at the very end, Chris Pine dies because his wife stabs him and says, "Now it's time for me to take control." What does that even mean? I understand the whole point of this. I guess the whole patriarchy, and Chris Pine's supposed to be Jordan Peterson, which I'll say over and over again, doesn't make sense if you actually read Jordan Peterson's book and actually listen to his talk for more than 2-minute clips. Like, people love doing that, take like someone's bad talking or something they disagree with and like put it into a morph. And you're like, oh, you see, that's Jordan Peterson. No, if you actually listen to him talk like the whole 3 hours on Joe Rogan, or read his book, or just him at a college class, you understand what he's going for. So what is this wife going to do better that he couldn't? Like, it doesn't make sense. Some people are going to figure out they're not in the real world, so they're going to freak out and shit's going to happen like this. So it doesn't make sense. Was I entertained though? Absolutely. But like I said, I'm spoiling the movie a lot. I don't do this a lot. I had to get this off my chest because, like I said, right when it goes to her going back to the real world and Harry Styles looking like a normal human being, which I'll say it a million times before, the girls in my theater were like disgusted, like, oh, he's disgusting looking. Like, that was literally said. It's like, that's fucked up. Like, if I said that to a woman, like if Florence Pugh turned ugly compared to me and I said that out loud, that wouldn't be allowed. So double standards there. I just don't like that in the real world of what we're going for. And plus, Harry Styles is a very feminine dude wearing dresses. Like, how's that hot? That's just not me. I'd rather have a dude that could actually, if I was a female, a dude that could actually make a deck, know how to fix a motorcycle, fix an engine, change oil. Harry Styles don't know how to do any of that. Same with the Bad Bunny guy. Like, just wear dresses. Like, no, that's not cool at all. But overall, I enjoy the movie. I had to get this off my chest because, like I said, the last 40 minutes, it's cool. I enjoy what they're trying to go for, but I needed more backstory of where this community was located. Where are all these people? How are these people getting drugged in their own house? How is electroshock therapy happening? How is all of this happening? It just says, here you go. It doesn't really give you a lot in return. And I'm just like, give me answers, or at least give me an extra 10 minutes of like Chris Pine in this fucking weird, grandma's boy portal where he's like do kind of thing. Give me that, please. But this is the open ending, and then the lights just breaking, like the whole people realizing, oh my god, we're not in the real world, like that, like really. But anyway, I gave it a 60%. I don't see it changing. Do I see me buying it? Probably, to give it another watch. I do think Shia LaBeouf would have been a better fit than Harry Styles. He would have that more emotional range. He would have better acting skills. He would, sexuality. The sexuality isn't as bad as the trailer seems in the first 15 minutes. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's one of the movies where you watch, you're like, I understand the premise, but even a lot of people in the theater, I can't tell if they're happy or sad. I could tell it was a mixed feeling movie for sure. Chase out with the Blue Futon, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think is Futonatopia. You Blue Futoners, thank you for watching. Have a great day. And to me, it's the red suit people, and then her touching the hub. What does that do? Like, just touching the conscience? Does that make your conscience? Like, then you're like zapping yourself to the real world. But if you do that and you're zapping yourself to the real world, should you be able to take things off? I don't know. Clockwork, Matrix, Stepford. What was the other movie? It's based off of Village. That's the name of the movie. But hey, it is what it is.